an ex-cop, body fluids, underage children, a wife who was involved. Let's put it up full mass. Let's put his picture up full mass. I would deal with Dennis Wallace Perkins first. 10 months ago, we talked about the wife on the program. And I said then, 10 months ago, I said, I guarantee you the husband is involved. I said it right here on Indisputable. What that evidence has now come out. Now her husband, an ex-deputy, has pleaded guilty to sex crimes. Dennis Wallace Perkins, a 47-year-old former Louisiana Sheriff's deputy, will likely spend the rest of his natural life behind bars after admitting to a slew of horrific sex crimes, which reportedly involved 2 child victims, 2 adults, and 1 dog. Yeah, a dog. While Perkins expressed regret for his despicable crimes, he also reportedly wished certain facts would have come to light that would have helped his case. Yeah. Okay, so he's saying, yeah, you know what, Judge, what I did was just bad. I put bodily fluids inside of cupcakes, made children eat it. I got involved with sexual acts, perversion, minors. I did all of these things, but Judge, there's some other things that you need to be aware of. This insanity. Perkins was sentenced to 100 years. 100 years in state prison on Tuesday after the former sheriff deputy and SWAT commander pleaded guilty to 1 count of second-degree rape, 2 counts of sexual battery of a child, 1 count of video voyeurism, 2 counts of production of pornography involving children under the age of 13, and 1 count mingling of harmful substances. Officials announced. What was the body fluid? You can imagine. Yep, that's what it was. Okay. Now, this man was not only a cop, he was a supervising commander over SWAT. This man was over other cops. How depraved do you think these other cops were in his unit? You see, leadership flows down. That's how it works. What other crimes has he done that we are unaware of? Got away with it. He got caught this time. Do you think this was the only time, the first time he's done something this depraved against minors? Of course not. Perkins had originally been facing more than 75 criminal charges when he was first arrested. But prosecutors agreed to drop the dozens of remaining counts in exchange for Perkins agreeing to enter a guilty plea. He is also required to register as a sex offender for the remainder of his life. Now, the most headline-grabbing charge of mingling of harmful substances was when Perkins and his wife, 36-year-old Cynthia T. Perkins, used his semen to season, according to them, cake batter. Yeah, they're sick as hell. We covered her criminality back last February. But to recap, she then served the laced baked goods to students at Westside Junior High School, where Cynthia had been previously employed as an English teacher. Authorities said Perkins filmed himself making the revolting concoction. Cynthia pleaded guilty to charges of second-degree sexual assault, production of child pornography, and conspiracy of mingling those same harmful substances. Specific acts pleaded in her deal included aiding her husband in sexually assaulting a minor and aiding her husband in filming a minor who was bathing. She was sentenced to 41 years in prison, provided she testified against her husband and go to jail. In addition to testimony from victims, investigators reportedly seized a trove of incriminating media when they raided the home of Perkins shared with his wife, recovering more than 2,600 photos, 300 videos depicting illegal content. Assistant Attorney General Barry Milligan reportedly told the outlet that the evidence obtained in the case was, and I quote, the worst he personally had ever scene. Do you know how big a deal that is coming from a prosecutor? It's the worst you have ever seen. Once again, two people, positions of public trust, a commander of a SWAT team and an English teacher of a local high school. There's more. During Perkins' wife's proceedings, her attorneys repeatedly maintained that her husband was the mastermind of their criminal activity and claimed that Perkins was simply manipulated. All right, that Miss Perkins was manipulated, that's it. In an email to Law and Crime, Perkins' attorney reiterated that his client agreed to be held accountable for her own criminal conduct. A third defendant in the case, put it up. Third defendant in the case, Melanie Curtin, in December 2021, was sentenced to life in prison after a jury found her guilty of sexual assault crimes and video voyeurism. Okay, here we go. Now remember, this is psychopathic, right? You and I would agree, everybody would agree. This is psychopathic, this is more than perverted. But they were in positions of public trust. Let me ask you this. What if they did an exhaustive psychological evaluation on the officer like Ithaca, New York currently does? That typically disqualifies 75% of would-be officers because the psych eval is so exhaustive, it picks up on things like this. You see, this actually works. Ithaca has a system that works. But why won't we adopt that system universally? Because it works. You see, cops don't want to actually reform. That's why many of us have to talk more than reform. We have to also talk replacement of these officers. You have to recruit a new stock. The stock you have, the vast majority of them, as I said before, rotten to the damn core. Lee, thoughts here?
Man, imagine what those students feel. Imagine the trauma and all of the things they have to work through for the rest of their life, the broken distrust for their educators, and the classroom environment, and just really thinking about like what those students have to deal with for the rest of their lives, especially seeing that I feel like they got played. You know what I'm saying? So I find it's something that I'm really just still processing right now as we live. If I'm being honest with you, and it's just really my thoughts and condolences to them kids. You feel me? They really didn't do nothing that. Shout out to them kids, man.
Yeah, it's obviously horrific, but this is why, dear brother, we do what we do. We expose it. It's tough, it's hard. We carry these stories with us because we're human and we're okay embracing our humanity. But we expose it because while it may be hard for us to do these stories, it's harder for them to go through what they're going through. And so we expose the monsters and we set the record straight.